Hello, my name is Kristian Lavercombe. I play Riff Raff in the Rocky Horror Show, and I've played Riff Raff probably 2,000 times now, which is a bit of a record. The Swansea Grand was the first place I ever experienced theatre, and I was a child. I'm guessing I must have been about 6 or 7. I don't even remember what the show was, and actually, it's not even important what the show was. But that memory has stuck with me my entire life, because I remember sitting in those seats, and I remember it being the curtain being red and it being golden, and there was an atmosphere in there, and there was a feeling that of magic. You know, there's a magic feeling you get from being in the theatre and being in that environment, and you know what? That's stayed with me my entire life. And even today, when I go along to the theatre, when I'm sitting somewhere and I'm really excited to go and see a show and I'm sitting in that audience, there's nothing else quite like it, and I'm taken right back to that initial time of me sitting in the Swansea Grand, being in that theatre and waiting for the show to start. And you can't replicate that by going to a cinema or doing all those kind of things. You know, you can only get it in theatre. I think it's so important for every child to be given that opportunity, because for me, you know, I didn't know at that point I was going to become an actor. My family has nothing to do with theatre at all. But you know, it ignited something in me that has stayed with me my entire life. And you know, it's inspiring. It inspires you to step outside of the square and do different things and push yourself in different ways, and I think that's good for every human being. And you know, for me, the Swansea Grand will always have a soft spot in my heart, because it started something for me, and you know, I continue that on in other theatres all over the world. And now I spend my entire life, every single week I'm in a different theatre. And, you know, I'm a theatre photographer as well, so I'll go in and take photos of the theatres that I'm in. And, and it's just the magic of theatre. It's always there. And do you know what? I've only just thought of this, but in any community, the theatre is nearly always the most beautiful building in that city. And if you go in it, they're so ornate and they're so beautiful. And that's why those theatres, they shouldn't be sort of, you know, there was for a while they were knocking down lots of old theatres. I mean, that's a crime. That's an absolute crime, because those theatres are beautiful. And they're where people go to experience beautiful things, to be entertained, to laugh, to have joy, to be there with their friends and family and have an experience together. And you know, so theatres should be lauded and they should be respected, and you know, people should, you know, make sure you invest and help out and you know, go along, buy a ticket for a child, and you know, who knows, maybe you'll inspire them to have, you know, a bit of magic in their lives. Do you know, I don't sound Welsh at all anymore, and but I used to speak with a very strong Welsh accent, and that's the accent I had until I was about 15. And my father and my mother both have very strong Welsh accents, and so does my sister and everybody else in my family. And that's because I was actually born in Neath, and I went to primary school in Klein Primary in Resolven, and I grew up in Melincourt, and then my family emigrated all the way to the other side of the world, to New Zealand. And but you know, my family in New Zealand, we always have a big Welsh flag flying in the back garden of New Zealand, and so very patriotic, but on the other side of the planet. And so, you know, I can't tell you how lovely it is for me to even be at the theatre here, and all the crew speaking with really strong Welsh accents, and I can't tell you how much it makes me feel at home. And my parents are still on the other side of the world, so you know, it's been very lovely for me. But you know, at heart, I'm still that little Welsh boy who came along to the Swansea Grand.